Let's talk about something that defies common assumptions: muscle growth after the age of 60. A lot of people believe that once you cross that threshold, muscle mass is gone for good, that decline is inevitable, that strength is a memory, but that is not what the science shows. What we now understand about the biology of aging is that it's not the lack of potential that limits muscle growth, it's the lack of proper stimulus and support. And that support doesn't have to come in the form of synthetic hormones or dangerous compounds. There is compelling evidence pointing to a natural supplement that can play a significant role in supporting muscle maintenance and, in many cases, new muscle development, even after 60. Let's talk about something that defies common assumptions: muscle growth after the age of 60. A lot of people believe that once you cross that threshold, muscle mass is gone for good. That decline is inevitable, that strength is a memory. But that is not what the science shows. What we now understand about the biology of aging is that it's not the lack of potential that limits muscle growth. It's the lack of proper stimulus and support. And that support doesn't have to come in the form of synthetic hormones or dangerous compounds. There is compelling evidence pointing to a natural supplement that can play a significant role in supporting muscle maintenance and, in many cases, new muscle development. Even after 60, muscle growth after the age of 60 is a concept that challenges long-standing beliefs about aging and physical decline. Many people assume that once they cross this age milestone, the ability to build muscles significantly diminishes or disappears entirely. However, modern research in physiology, endocrinology, and exercise science has revealed a more nuanced picture. What actually happens is not a complete loss of potential, but rather a shift in how the body responds to stimulus. With age, factors such as hormonal levels, recovery capacity, and protein synthesis rates tend to change, but they do not vanish. The key difference lies in the degree of effort and the specificity of strategies required to trigger muscle adaptation in older individuals. Sarcopenia, which is the age loss of muscle mass, is commonly cited as evidence that muscle growth becomes nearly impossible after 60. But sarcopenia is not inevitable in its most extreme form. It is largely influenced by lifestyle choices, including physical activity levels, nutritional habits, and sleep quality. Resistance training remains the most effective method for inducing hypertrophy and strength gains regardless of age. In fact, studies consistently demonstrate that even those in their 70s, 80s, and 90s can experience significant improvements in muscle mass and function when placed on a structured resistance training program. The muscles respond to load, tension, and progressive overload, even in older populations, though it may take slightly longer due to the slower recovery dynamics. One of the biological mechanisms that remains active, albeit at a lower rate, is muscle protein synthesis. After 60, the body may become less sensitive to anabolic signals, which means it requires more precise and consistent stimuli to produce the same results that came more easily in youth. This is where nutrition, particularly protein intake and meal timing, becomes essential. Consuming higher quality protein, rich in leucine and other essential amino acids, can significantly support the muscle building process. It's not uncommon for older adults to benefit from slightly higher daily protein targets compared to younger individuals to support muscle maintenance and growth. Additionally, the concept of anabolic resistance becomes relevant here. This refers to the reduced efficiency with which older muscles respond to dietary protein and resistance exercise. Overcoming anabolic resistance requires a more targeted approach. Consuming adequate protein throughout the day, engaging in regular resistance-based workouts, and ensuring optimal recovery through sleep and rest. While this may seem complex, it's actually an empowering realization. It means that the capacity for muscle growth is still intact. It just requires more informed and intentional action. Moreover, staying physically active and regularly challenging the muscles helps to stimulate key molecular pathways involved in muscle repair and hypertrophy, including the mTOR pathway and satellite cell activation. These processes don't shut down with age. They simply require more consistent and direct signaling. Strength training provides that signal, and it does so in a way that also benefits other systems: bone density, metabolic rate, insulin sensitivity, and even cognitive function. Resistance exercise, when done with proper form and recovery, becomes a foundational tool for maintaining not only muscle mass, but also quality of life well into the later decades of life. Aging reduces the efficiency of the muscle building process, but it does not eliminate the potential for hypertrophy or strength development. This distinction is critical in understanding how the body changes over time and how those changes affect physical capacity. As individuals age, several physiological shifts occur, such as a gradual decline in testosterone, growth hormone, and insulin-like growth factor 1, IGF-1, all of which are important regulators of muscle growth. However, these changes do not mean the system stops working. Rather, it becomes less responsive to the same inputs that once yielded fast results. The body's anabolic signaling pathways, particularly the mTOR pathway responsible for triggering muscle protein synthesis, remain intact but require a greater or more consistent stimulus to be effectively activated. This reduced efficiency is often misunderstood as a total loss of potential, which leads many people over 60 to assume that attempting to build muscle is futile. In reality, what is required is a shift in strategy. Instead of high-frequency, high-intensity training that might work well for younger individuals, older adults tend to benefit more from consistent, moderate-intensity training with ample recovery time. The emphasis should be on form, controlled movement, and progressive overload. Muscles still respond to mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscular damage, three primary drivers of hypertrophy, as long as the programming takes into account the slower recovery processes and greater injury risk associated with aging tissues. Nutrition also plays a significant role in counteracting this reduced efficiency. An older body often becomes less responsive to protein intake, a phenomenon referred to as anabolic resistance. To overcome this, higher quality protein sources with complete amino acid profiles, especially those rich in leucine, become essential. Research suggests that older adults benefit from consuming protein evenly spaced throughout the day and in slightly higher amounts per meal compared to younger populations. Doing so ensures that muscle protein synthesis is triggered more effectively, which supports muscle repair and growth. In addition, the inclusion of resistance training around these meals can further enhance the anabolic response, as exercise sensitizes the muscles to amino acid uptake. Another consideration is the neuromuscular aspect of aging. With age, there is a natural decline in motor unit recruitment and nerve signaling efficiency. However, this decline is not irreversible. Strength training improves neuromuscular coordination and the recruitment of motor units, enhancing muscle activation and efficiency during movement. This means that strength gains after 60 are not solely a result of muscle fiber hypertrophy, but also improved nervous system function, which translates to better balance, coordination, and muscular control. The reduced efficiency in muscle building is not a barrier, but a biological adaptation that requires smarter inputs, consistency in training, precise nutrition, and proper recovery can still lead to meaningful gains. It's not about chasing the results seen in youth, but about optimizing the body's current capacity. What changes with age is not the capacity for progress, but the pace and method through which that progress is achieved. This supplement works best when paired with resistance training and adequate protein intake, as its effects rely on activating pathways that are only stimulated in the presence of physical and nutritional signals. On its own, even the most effective natural compound cannot induce meaningful hypertrophy or strength development without the foundational inputs of mechanical tension and amino acid availability. Resistance training acts as the primary signal for muscle protein synthesis, creating microtrauma in muscle fibers and triggering the repair and adaptation process. The supplement enhances this process by supporting intracellular pathways like mTOR and increasing the muscle's sensitivity to these anabolic triggers, especially in older individuals where natural responsiveness has declined due to age, physiological changes. Protein intake, specifically high-quality protein rich in essential amino acids such as leucine, provides the raw materials for muscle repair. Without sufficient protein, even well-designed training protocols and supportive supplementation will yield limited results. Older adults often require more protein per kilogram of body weight compared to younger individuals due to anabolic resistance. This makes the timing and composition of meals critical, particularly in the post-workout window when muscle cells are most receptive to amino acid uptake. The supplement does not replace this need, but amplifies the body's ability to utilize these nutrients efficiently, increasing the rate of recovery and supporting lean muscle development. Consistency in both training and nutrition is essential. The supplement functions optimally when the body is exposed to repeated cycles of stimulus and recovery, allowing cumulative adaptation over time. For instance, creatine monohydrate increases phosphocreatine stores in muscle tissue, supporting energy production during short, intense efforts like resistance training. This results in better performance, greater total training volume, and subsequently more stimulus for muscle growth. However, these benefits emerge progressively with regular use and sustained exercise effort. Similarly, adaptogens, or compounds that modulate stress response, may require days or weeks of consistent intake to meaningfully lower cortisol and enhance recovery processes. Hydration, sleep quality, and overall nutrient status also influence how well this supplement works. Dehydration, inadequate micronutrients, or poor sleep can impair the very systems the supplement is designed to support, from hormonal balance to tissue regeneration. Supplementation should therefore be seen as one piece of a broader strategy rather than a standalone solution. It complements the effort, structure, and biological demand imposed by regular resistance exercise and a protein-rich diet. This synergy creates a physiological environment where muscle protein synthesis is not only triggered more effectively, but sustained over time, allowing for visible improvements in muscle tone, strength, and function, even in individuals over 60. Muscle growth in older adults is less about forcing the body to do something unnatural and more about reminding it how to respond to natural stimuli. This supplement aids that process by ensuring that the internal biochemical signals necessary for adaptation are present and active. It supports metabolic efficiency, reduces muscle breakdown, and improves recovery. But it depends on the continued presence of physical effort and nutritional support to create lasting structural change in the muscles. Without these inputs, its effects are significantly diminished because the underlying system lacks the conditions required for meaningful growth and repair. Scientific studies have consistently shown that older adults can experience significant improvements in strength, recovery, and lean muscle mass when supported by the right combination of resistance training, proper nutrition, and targeted supplementation. This understanding marks a shift away from the outdated notion that aging inevitably results in irreversible physical decline. Research across multiple domains of human physiology has demonstrated that skeletal muscle remains a highly adaptable tissue even in the later decades of life, capable of responding to consistent mechanical and nutritional stimuli. In clinical trials, men and women over 60 who engage in structured resistance training programs show measurable increases in muscle fiber cross-sectional area, power output, and functional performance such as walking speed, balance, and stair climbing ability. One notable area of research has explored the role of creatine monohydrate in enhancing these adaptations. Randomized controlled trials involving older adults have revealed that when creatine is taken in conjunction with resistance exercise, participants often gain more lean mass and demonstrate greater improvements in strength compared to placebo groups. This is believed to occur through improved intramuscular energy availability, which enables individuals to train with more intensity and recover more efficiently. Enhanced recovery reduces the risk of injury and makes it easier to maintain a consistent training schedule, which is one of the most important factors in long-term muscle development. In parallel, studies on branched-chain amino acids and leucine-rich protein supplementation indicate a clear anabolic advantage when older adults consume higher levels of quality protein. For example, research has shown that ingesting 25 to 30 grams of high leucine protein in a single meal can significantly stimulate muscle protein synthesis in people over 60. When repeated throughout the day and paired with exercise, this pattern supports the rebuilding of muscle tissue and helps counteract the effects of anabolic resistance. Studies have also investigated HMB, a metabolite of leucine, which appears to reduce muscle protein breakdown and preserve muscle mass during periods of inactivity or caloric deficit, both of which are common risks in older populations. Other research has looked at how anti-inflammatory compounds like omega-3 fatty acids contribute to muscle recovery and growth by improving insulin sensitivity and reducing systemic inflammation. These effects allow better nutrient partitioning and enhance the anabolic response to training and protein intake. Vitamin D levels have also been linked to muscle function and strength outcomes, and deficiency in older adults has been associated with impaired muscle performance. Supplementation in deficient individuals improves muscle strength and reduces the incidence of falls, especially when combined with resistance training. Furthermore, functional MRI and muscle biopsy studies have shown that even short-term interventions, such as 8 to 12 weeks of resistance training combined with supportive supplementation, can lead to quantifiable changes in muscle density and structure in adults over 60. These findings confirm that muscle growth is not restricted by age, but is highly influenced by the presence or absence of consistent training stimulus, adequate recovery, and metabolic support. The data clearly show that with the right interventions, older adults can achieve meaningful improvements in physical performance, body composition, and overall quality of life through changes that are both measurable and sustainable. Consistency, sleep, and nutrition form the foundational elements of muscle growth at any age, but their importance becomes even more pronounced after the age of 60. The aging body does not lose its ability to build muscle, but it does require a more deliberate and structured approach to trigger and sustain hypertrophy. These three pillars, consistency in training, quality sleep, and targeted nutrition, create the physiological environment necessary for adaptation and recovery. Without them, even the most potent training programs or supplements will have limited effect. Aging introduces challenges such as slower recovery, hormonal shifts, and reduced protein sensitivity, all of which can be addressed through a consistent daily routine that supports the body's natural rhythms and biological needs. Consistency in training is one of the most critical factors for older adults aiming to improve strength and muscle mass. Sporadic or unstructured workouts may not provide sufficient mechanical stimulus to drive muscle protein synthesis, especially in the presence of anabolic resistance. A regular training schedule focused on resistance exercises that challenge the major muscle groups helps maintain neuromuscular efficiency, encourages joint stability, and supports metabolic health. Compound movements like squats, rows, and presses are especially effective for stimulating multiple muscle groups and promoting functional strength. Over time, consistent exposure to resistance leads to positive adaptations in both muscle tissue and the nervous system, resulting in better coordination, balance, and strength. Sleep is another crucial element in the muscle building equation. During deep stages of sleep, the body releases growth hormone and engages in cellular repair processes essential for muscle recovery. In older adults, sleep quality often declines due to shifts in circadian rhythm, hormonal fluctuations, or lifestyle factors. This decline can interfere with the body's ability to regenerate tissue and regulate inflammation. Poor sleep increases cortisol levels, which can inhibit muscle growth and promote catabolism. On the other hand, quality sleep enhances insulin sensitivity, supports hormonal balance, and allows the muscular and nervous systems to recover fully between training sessions. Establishing regular sleep habits, minimizing blue light exposure before bed, and aligning sleep with natural circadian rhythms can help optimize the anabolic potential of sleep. Nutrition serves as both the fuel and the building material for muscle development. Older adults require not only adequate caloric intake, but also sufficient protein, micronutrients, and healthy fats to support muscle repair hormone production, and immune function. Protein intake should be distributed evenly throughout the day to ensure a steady supply of amino acids for muscle protein synthesis. Each meal should ideally contain 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, including sources rich in leucine. In addition to macronutrients, vitamins like D, B12, and minerals like magnesium and zinc play roles in muscle contraction, energy metabolism, and tissue regeneration. Staying hydrated also ensures that nutrients are delivered efficiently to muscle cells and that metabolic waste products are flushed from the body. When these foundational elements are aligned, consistent training, restorative sleep, and nutrient-dense meals, the body responds with enhanced recovery, increased strength, and improved physical resilience. These elements interact synergistically, meaning that the benefits of one are amplified by the presence of the others. Missing any one of them creates a gap in the recovery and adaptation process that can limit muscle growth, reduce energy levels, and increase the risk of injury or overtraining.